a bit of a misstep there. FURIA they know, and FURIA they know that they can beat. That's when you see as soon as you get that momentum behind a player, it's like, oh, this is the play.
This is the play indeed, and they've had an hour, a little bit of a break after their game against Empire. Gives them the opportunity to either sit down, relax, maybe have some food and make sure you're going into the game fresh, or to go over the previous game you just played against Empire. As both these teams have played Empire today. FaZe first, 5-7 loss against Empire, and FURIA followed that one up with a 4-7. So there might be some, similar thoughts you're going to be able to pull out of that one. As in the ban phase, I'm going to start off with the Hibana ban and the Capitao. Now, does make a couple of these executes a little bit harder on the FaZe side.
Yeah, it brings the difficulty into those attacks. You're looking at a team that's already utilized Capitao very well across this tournament. So, I guess whenever you have those smokes removed for a team that builds its executes so pitch perfect, you go, okay, this is a big blow. Potentially. It's always that word that gets thrown around because there's always replacements. There might be another operator you opt to bring instead that has the smoke canisters to get the capability of the plant that you wanted to do. You might have your plan B that is a bit more aggressive rather than the coverage of the sites that smokes offer. Goyo gone as well. That's another big removal of a kind of in-meta operator. We've seen them play Goyo a fair bit. It's the shield, it's the extension, it's the vector. It's a heck of a gun in the right hands, and they are very good hands. They've shown that throughout this tournament.
Very good hands indeed. And as FaZe has decided to ban out the Jaeger themselves, we're choosing to go for the Wamai, and we also see the Mira make her appearance. Now, due to the fact that it gets 6 picked in, it is going to be difficult for FURIA to gauge this, and thus will not have an answer maybe straight away. You will need to bring potentially the Twitch to make sure you can blast those canisters out, or you're going to have to change a little bit of your setup, your attack, your execute, or your step-by-step plan to make sure that you are moving one of your verticality operators, as in the Sophia and the Ashe, who of course have that soft breach available to create the verticality, to put some pressure from below, make sure those mirror windows open, because as they are being put down right now, one of them directly towards the study door, it is going to be almost impossible to try and enter and challenge that as an attacker. And as a result, the attack will have to come down from, for example, the main stairs, or completely the other side, northern side, the trophy statuary side, where also a mirror window will be put up. So no matter what you do, you will have to do with at least one of them.
Thank you, Medics, for highlighting the extension here. A very big play. You see this extension done a fair bit, but not usually with this much setup aggression, I think. Obviously, they're waiting for the approach instantly towards Astronomy window. They have that hard swing, so they can make the fight happen on the windows before they even get into the building. Oftentimes, they'll kind of lock that play and say, well, you can get in, but you're not going to get much further here. Well, FaZe is saying, no entry at all, which means that they have to do a lot of their work outside. They have to set themselves up for the approach potentially around Trophy Statuary, or if they want to hop in the little close hot window as the connector between 90 and the sites itself, it is the possibility of pulling them apart. But with the dedication of the mirror window, with the extension, with the triple hard alongside the mute jammers, treat this as if it's a very big version of the CC extension and club, but when you're holding Gym Bedroom.
Yeah, exactly. It is a big extension. Of course, you have the opportunity to jump down from the middle part as well between Trophy and Statuary. You have to make sure, however, that the bottom floor will be cleared. Also have the opportunity to rotate around as cameraman gets picked up. Highs not going to be taking too much damage. Well, a lot of damage from the shotgun, but will be staying alive, which is the important part. And Bullet now under a bit of pressure. He's the last man standing on, well, Statuary Trophy on that side of the map, so it's going to be very important for the setup of FaZe.
Ready for the pressure to come either side, but it's Souls that just opens up Fantasy and locks him down on the main stairs, trying to swan his way up there, but the pressure is still mounting on this mirror. Now it's an even body balance, and they've dedicated a huge amount. They do lock it off pretty cleanly, and there's the connector window I talked about before. Miracle had made sure that if that mirror tried to escape that route, they weren't getting very far, and the hot hop over the gap in the middle between those two sides is, well, probably a little bit more dangerous than taking a gunfight. So FURIA have been able to secure control, 2 kills and taken over a lot. Neither C4 was used, I believe, between cameraman or bullet. It was, not saying missed potential, they maybe didn't expect so much aggression to come that quick, potentially wanted to fall back to offer a little bit more. Obviously, this is the sort of stuff that we'll only see as it develops. Talking of Cyber, develops and takes care of Miracle. That's the diffuser cold at the top of red.
Have to try and put some pressure down. Astro inside a study. Knows of the fact that one is outside. C4 gets tossed, but taken out. And they're not really too worried about that, but knows the player is going to be close now. And as Astro is prone on the ground, he's going to be playing a very key role for this hold.
He's waiting. He sees the top of the Caber. Pops up. Souls finds one more. It's a 2 versus 2, but with only a handful of seconds and no one near the diffuser. It's a smoke to go through. And locked just from that diffuser being in a position where they couldn't quite get it back. They'd gone for a bit of a swap over after confirming those kills on the opposite side. And from that point onwards, you're stuck. You're in this situation of, well, do we have to try and dig through all of them now instead of just taking a bit of a pocket and a window and trying to plant with the coverage that we've got? It was a risk and it wasn't well rewarded because FaZe were able to win their vital ones that we saw happen throughout the round. The first one on the brick stairs as they tried to swing their way up, and then the second one that happened on the passover before there was anyone to offer the cover. It's just those little moments.
It's often the little moments that lead to a round going one way or the other, and well, it is something we do often mention. If this gunfight would have gone the other way, then the round would have been totally different. But it's like a gunfight that happens in like the first 30, 40 seconds of the round. As we are going for a quick rehost right here, so stay with us. We're not going anywhere. It's just been round 1. Gonna be instantly a little bit of a reset here. FURIA will be the ones that have the opportunity to benefit from that. They started off strong. They managed to get a pick. They managed to even get a second pick on the statuary side. However, they were not able to convert it. And then you're looking into it, all right? Some pressure came down from Study. They did manage to take the kill there as well. However, they fell flat when they had to enter the Aviator side. That was a shotgun. Swung around. Managed to get that diffuser. Managed to drop it. Smoke started popping. Nothing you can do in that case. What needs to change in that case? Because they managed to get the kills. Again, they managed to get the control. However, not in time. I think time, the true issue right here, because they were forced to push towards that diffuser. With the smoke canister down on the ground, you are going to be choking to your death slowly. And there was no way that we're going to be able to run away with that round in that case.
This is slightly unrelated, but I think it's worth mentioning that the way our studio is set up, we actually get a little bit of a window of the players that are walking towards the playrooms, and I've just seen the Cyclops players go past for their showdown with BDS. If you're unaware,
that is a big match.
That is the match that will determine who is the first team that is going to be going home. The first team confirmed to be going home. If they can beat BDS on the other stream, they'll
send their APAC brother in home.
If they lose, C9 stay. And Cyclops are going home. So it was a little bit of a long emotional walk that we got a slight glimpse into.
I imagine what goes, like, I cannot imagine, but I would like to know what goes through your mind if you are on the brink of having to go home from the biggest tournament there has been since 15 months, and you know you have to win against arguably the best team in the world currently.
Just got to focus on the game in hand. And that's what we'll start doing as well.
Exactly.
Trophy Statuary, we're back in. Thank you for bearing with us during that rehost as we got our tech problems fixed and sorted. If you somehow missed most of the first round, it was an extended hold from FaZe that bought them enough time when push come to shove, as well as some important ones that were won without the immediate pickup and cover from FURIA. So they found themselves without the diffuser between, well, a smoky place and a study, to be technically correct. But we're not going back there. We're going to Trophy Statuary. And I'm curious to see if we get the other side of this, if we have a big roam presence around AVG this time around instead, and they expect it. Because, again, their extension they did before is a common extension. I'll say they dedicated generally at least a little bit more than what we standardly see. And it kind of works. I'm going to asterisk it. It, like, technically works, but I think they know that they could probably pop that off better.
They could do it better for sure. One big thing to mention here is the FO12 that is available here. And normally, when you would see that, you would say, all right, he's going to be playing in walk-in closet. However, if you're looking at Cyber right now, he's literally all over the map, just putting down these Grismouth mines and allowing and enabling the rest of his team to potentially gain a bit of information as the extension is being put all the way to Aviator Games. And as he is still running, I'm wondering if he's going back up or if he's going to play in the bottom floor, because he's putting down some reinforcements here.
Yeah, that's it. I love seeing how, you know, we get the true interregional experience from watching this Villa play out here between these two teams that, as we said, are very familiar with each other. They have what is a more common scene extension, at least from our perspective, towards AVG. As you pointed out, they have extension all the way down, and it's actually a heavy drone work around Wine that's going to try and find Cameraman. He was the first off the board in the previous round, and he was such a big player in earlier games, so he's going to try and make sure he doesn't get caught out early by this firefight that's happening on the door. Yet again, another 1 versus 1 that's broken out deep within the bowels of this map itself. Gets himself a rotate and a new angle. Almost gets himself a kill, but there's backup, there's cover, and there's Cameraman taking a quick snapshot, dropping a man, and the C4 over the top, but Cyber has the support with the FO12 from the top, opens the hatch and says, don't worry, mate, I'm here, I'm not too far away.
And Monty pushing in right now, missing a knife somehow. Souls, however, will be dropped by Highs. The cover is there, but then the peaks are starting to come in. Rare able to pick up the kill onto Astro and the last man standing, but he's not even going to be able to get the knife out. Gets the SMG in his face. It's FaZe that is going to be stepping it up here, 2-0. Starting off their defense strong. However, it is, again, we got to put a little asterisk next to it, a defense side of map. So, you know, the tertiary bomb side is truly where you should be performing as the attacking team.
Very early tactical timeout here on their 3rd round after a rehost moment as well. We haven't even seen the full site rotation. So Furia, for them, this is really, they want to make sure this momentum doesn't build. This was almost, in a way, 2 different games that were played at the same time. 2 different gunfights.
It is.
2 different engagements. I understand why Furia did it. They were like, okay, we've lost 2 bodies downstairs, but we have confirmation that there's 2 of them down there. So if we just push site now, it's an even gunfight. We have a Monty. They have utility, they have structure, but we've got this Monty, we can dig deep. It's a 3 versus 3, technically. Let's just ignore those other 2 guys. It didn't quite work out, but I understand why they suddenly went so heavy and didn't try and pull back some of the losses in the time. They, obviously, pulling the tactical timeout, want to make sure that that momentum that they almost played a part in building, because they refused to slow down, doesn't work into FaZe's favor.
Definitely true. Got to make sure that you bring it home now, and it was a good call, just unfortunate that they weren't able to lock off the gunfight onto the man in the corner, and as a result, lost the Monty, lost the cover, and lost the round eventually. Because if that would have gone their way, there would have been an opportunity to potentially go for a plant, get a bit of cover out. Might have even been able to completely turn it around. But the tactical timeout will pass, and the clash was originally being brought, but gets 6 picked out to a Legion, and that might be a good call because the ace is being removed to a Montaigne, as you can now see on your screens as well. Might be a direct counter coming through, working out for FaZe, and if that's true, they won the bluffing game.
It's always the gamble. It's always the shot. It's what are we going to do? And they played this game, and they've ended up coming off better off it. Yep. If you're unaware, if you've never really understood how it works, you see the full reveal of the rosters, and then you don't see the rosters again. So you don't know if they 6-pick or not unless you go and join them out. You have the idea of the 5. You have no idea of anything outside of that original 5.
That might change in the future, because if you did watch the panel that was originally back in February, supposed to be during the Grand Finals day, they are thinking about maybe letting attackers repick their roster based on what they find in the private phase. So, you know, that could all be coming in. Of course, that is all still being tested and being looked into. So we don't know when or if it will even make it into play, but that would really make it interesting.
So the Valcam on the tree out there, they're trying to set themselves up with all the outside intel that they have. 2 C4s in pocket and some cheeky moments that you can try and build from angles here could cause big problems. They're steadily careening their way around towards the washroom to make sure they can try and dig that Monty in. By the looks of how they led with it before, they are in no way cautious, which is great. If you have a confident Monty player, you can really cut to the heart of a team before they even begin to blink and call out, oh no, there's the mountain.
There's that hatch that is opened up, so Furia needs to put some pressure down. They need to get control of the bedroom, because if they don't, then And Cyber has the opportunity to just use that hatch. Drop any player that is trying to go for that plant, because here they go. They're trying to enter. Beautiful shot from Highs, and he has that diffuser, so he's just trying to tuck down behind the Montaigne and go for that plant. And if a C4 will come in, that might not block it. There we have it. The Monty gets blown into pieces. That is the cover now gone. That's the whole strategy potentially gone, as Cyber trying to run around the corner.
Astro is able to find one more there. It's the cut down inside the mudroom that locks off another body, and suddenly a great idea has turned into a terrible ending. They're trying to claw their way around this corner and pull something back into this. Cyber is close with an FO12. It does not take much from that gun, but it won't take much to take care of Cyber right now. He's very, very lit up from earlier engagements, but he's been able to come back to the site. It's heavy pings, it's a pre-fire, and he somehow doesn't get the kill. He had all the intel he needed, but he just couldn't step up against the Titan killer.
FO12 too strong there. Miracle, the last standing here for Furia. Grabs a diffuser, needs to go for these gunfights, tries to get the first, but fails to get any. It's again the Titan killer that comes in. It's the kill of the FO12 and FaZe, who put themselves up 3-0. The face bumps are being given out, the shoulder taps as well, and they also know this is going according to plan. And I just pulled up the stats in the meantime. Villa, overall, 62% defensive win rate over the 6 plays we've had. And then you're like, is there any change in the different sides? Do the sides have different percentages? Yes, but very slightly, because Aviator Games, 62%, Trophy Statue, 63%, and then Kitchen Dining, the one we just saw, make a guess.
No.
61%. Oh. So that's just going to go up a little bit now.
He did it anyway.
I'm going to do it anyway. Like,
Yep.
I'm not. No one can stop me.
All right, that's a lot of stats. If you want to know why we call it the Titan Killer, it's because Demo believes all of the Infinity Stones are inside it.
Are inside it? Okay, I never got that analogy. I just knew he called it the Titan Killer.
Yeah, he believes that gun, the FO12, is loaded with the Infinity.
So it's like the Infinity Gauntlet, but then in a gun.
Yes. There's the connection. And if you're wondering the disconnection, there's another rehost. We will be back in just a moment. And you kind of think, okay, well, that's, another breath of fresh air for Furia. This is another moment for them to talk. We've seen, they've dug deep with the Monty twice in a row. That recent round, I'll say, was more how they wanted to get in, because they'd been able to clear the space above Laundry. They did it very well. The air jabs across the top of the bathroom door, and then they popped another one, and then the flash on the close corners of the other side to kind of say, we're watching. Pushed him back, allowed the entrance underneath. That one C4, I mean, the timing of the shield fully redeploying again, and that C4 catching him must have been a hundredth of a second.
The thing is, right, if you have the shield fully extended, you can bounce it back when it flies in.
Yeah.
So
I don't know if he would have... I mean,
and he unextended, which means that it'll just fly by, and then, your feet are completely exposed. And
he unextended to, I think, get the turn in time.
Well, you can... It's not like your turn is like...
What's your sense?
It's the same thing. The sense doesn't change.
Listen, I'm just trying to,
Any Monty mains, please confirm. I don't think the sense changes, but I mean, it's probably so he could try to shoot out the nitro. I think that is why he was swapped to save his teammate. Because
the teammate had slipped.
He was already long gone.
He was gone.
He just accidentally got himself killed.
Because the thing is, I guess the easiest way of putting it is that's what the Monty's role was.
To defend the teammate.
Yeah. And it didn't quite come together.
Guy trying.
Again, the fact that we've already seen the, tactical timeout as well this early, after just 2 of the sites.
Doesn't bode well.
It didn't go to success. It didn't bode well. But at the same time, it's Villa. Villa does play into the hands of defenders. It's a really heavy map. It's thick brick and mortar walls. It's big angles, and that.
It's going to be someone really happy on the TL, I think.
Kavera.
Attackers need to locate.
Kavera is going to be coming out. All right. Is that the tone we're trying to go up for here? So, Astro on the Cav is going to be trying to be a nightmare for Furia, hoping to get an interrogate in or two. And I mean, I'm all for it. If the Cav is coming out, I want to see interrogations. I don't want half work done.
Well, you love playing Cav.
I interrogated Rampy actually during the Invitational. Still lost the game, but I interrogated the world champion. So
put it in the bio. All right, yeah, what this is going to allow, obviously, Astra still rolling with the shotgun as well. Once those close engagements and once the ability to open themselves rotations, as we've seen, you can get so quick, you can be so sharp, and you can avoid all the plays that we're doing. From the guns of FURIA and the positioning, we're seeing them with a pretty much direct idea. Whether they're pushing towards site with the Monty, or whether they're pushing deep underneath, or whether they're pushing on the extension, whatever they want to take over, they go there full guns blazing. They try and get there and get in as quick as possible. They're droning ahead of themselves, obviously. They're doing intel gathering, but they're trusting that to act quickly. And that is where the Cav might be able to punish them, because if they're trying to move that fast, you know, that's when things might yeah, that's when that terrifying lady can slip through the cracks and absolutely pull you apart.
Now, I do see one man in the kitchen. I'm not sure if Astra... Yeah, Astra is still close. He's right about the corner, still needs to move up one staircase, and he has the opportunity to try and go 40 down in interrogation. And if you look at it, one man on the roof, 3 are on the balcony. There's no better time than now to try and make sure that you get it, as there is literally no cover nearby to try and take down Miracle, and there's no way. Now they know it. Cameraman just tried to detonate a C4. It didn't go, and that means that they know someone just cleared it out. So that means that Astro is now going to be going for that flank, because the C4 didn't blow up. Someone must be there or has been there. And as he's just waiting for the last bits of cover, he hears the air jab, and he needs to clear it out, but he cannot find it yet. And you don't want to use the impact, because that is going to be given away. Just finds the pixel, and he's off free. He's off. Lights out. And away we go.
Ready to prowl and to lurk and to try to tear them apart. It is hunting at this point in time, and the drones, as I said, they're checking their angles. If this stays here just a second longer, slips past it, tries to see if anybody's close on red. They're coming around the corner. It's Miracle. I guess you can't really bring the terrifying Prowling Cat Operator against FURIA, who have that as their logo.
No. I mean, you know, he managed to stay undetected for the drone for a while, and if he was just a little bit quicker and could have dealt with... Ew, there we have it. Beautiful shot from Rare somehow as he repels in, able to shut down the swing that came through from Cyber, and that leaves FaZe in a vulnerable position now as they're only 3 versus 5. Having to make sure that these last 35 seconds are going their way. There's not much time left for FURIA. They need to push.
They're opening up their angles there and opening up underneath. It's a 5 versus 1. Everything has fallen into that position now. They have entirely encircled Souls inside the site itself, but he's popping canisters to try and buy himself just the first fight. Finds it. Drops highs outside, but Fantasies takes the smoke and goes for the plant. Pops behind the mirror window, gets caught by the bodies already on the strategy table, and FURIA finally able to find their first round.
Put up their round indeed. Didn't spot out the head actually. I believe that you could just see the head of Yana in that in the mirror window there, but of course smoke canisters blocked it. Went a bit too wide and got picked up as a result. FURIA able to pick that one up. Great roam clear, we have to say, taking care of the Guevara first and pushing on from there on, taking down every other member that was playing from the bottom floor. Also, this beautiful shot from Rare really helped him to get into that round. Taking out the Wamai, taking out the brown stairs control, and basically only leaving the smoke left on site as the last line of defense that FaZe had available to them. And right now we are heading into round number 5 already. It's going quite quickly. And we are seeing trophy stat tree, so the rotation gets continued. We are not going back to AVGs to run it back. And FaZe feeling confident that they can continue their work. This time no Cav. The Ela is being brought out, still with the shotgun of course, because it has been quite effective. Not on the Cav, but on the Ela, that is.
I mean, Cav is a chance operator. Cav is
50-50. It's like,
yeah. If it's effective, it's fantastic, but it's usually only effective once. If it's ineffective...
You're trolling, apparently.
I would never say that.
No, I wouldn't say that either, but like, that's the public opinion of it.
Yeah, people, and that's a wrong opinion, guys. I always dislike when people say bringing Capcan, bringing Caveira, bringing these they're potentially one-hit wonders, sure. But when that music kicks in,
It's very situational.
it is so perfect, though, because it also works at massively demoralizing your opponents. If you can pull off a play with a pocket operator, you think of times that French teams do a Rooney plants up through hatches, and how much momentum that takes away from their opponents. It doesn't work 9 times out of 10, sure, but the one time it works.
It's the most fantastic thing
When
you'll
you're
ever see that day.
Yeah, when you're 3-0 up, bring Caveira, bring a Rooney, bring your fun pocket play operators, the blitz that we see from teams like Kavana inside EU.
Yeah.
Put down a mantle. You either lose the round, fine, you're on to the next one with an advantage, or you completely lock your momentum in.
Interrogation, of course, is also a big play if it goes through. Has the opportunity to just close out the match. There's a go, and Landa with a swing in there. Repels in, gets the kill down onto Bullet. It's the second time in a row that Repel leans into a kill. And now the top of Brown Stairs already taken care of as well. And that means there is the opportunity for Astro here to try and hold him off as long as possible, but he might lose his life in the process.
Yeah, the leg of Fantasy gave a bit of the game away here, but they're doubled up on the window. Great take, great return. The drone buzzes underneath as more bullets pop off. They're taking the fight here on the pillar, but 90 falls for FURIA's favor, and suddenly it's just the FO12 left. The site is entirely empty. Yet again, we're on this villa map, and most of the engagements are happening off the site itself. They are not holding themselves to the limitations that the site offers. Sure, they're setting up the reinforcements, they're doubling down with the construction, but in the meantime, they're happy to push back against them. They take a fight in study, and they drop the man with the diffuser on a far roam. Can hit the hatch if they want to, but no longer, as the two bodies double up, opens up a fresh rotation, but it's right into the faces of the remaining FURIA players.
There we have it. FURIA able to set themselves up, win that round. And let's see if they can continue the streak. See if they can make sure that we're going back towards a 3-3 scoreline. Trophy statue again being chosen here by FaZe. Heading into the replays here, Astro able to pick up a huge kill, but wasn't aware of the fact there was more presence within the 90 classical hull. Lost his life as a result of it. A quick peek coming right afterwards, and I'm not quite sure what happened as FaZe went really aggressive on trying to go for the retake there. Even though it wasn't really that important to them because it wasn't the site, so it's not like they need the Aviator games in their control. They just threw every single body they had to it. I don't think anybody died on the actual site, so...
They didn't, and I think that's what I'm quite enjoying about this matchup. Obviously, as we've said a few times, like, this is the first time at really getting a deep dive into all the national scenes of Siege. We can do all the research that we can before we fly out here, but nothing beats watching it and analyzing it as it's happening live. It really allows you to get a grips and try and get your best idea of how they're formulating their structure, and I think FaZe, they're trying to respond as best with any entrance FURIA makes. They want to make sure that every fight that they have has a response. Even if it comes 10, 15 seconds later, they're still setting themselves up with that potential to say, well, FURIA think that there's no pressure, here's a change of a story. It's not that they're instigating the first fight every time, though. They're allowing FURIA to start something, but they're setting up far enough away that when it kicks into gear, it's like, okay, now we're partying.
All right. See what FURIA can do. Final attack round for now. As they have the opportunity to bring it back against FaZe here. FaZe will be desperately looking to get themselves a fourth round. We're looking good the first three, but not quite sure what was happening afterwards. And right now, it's going to be a bit of a challenge being put up to Fantasy, but where are they going? Like, where are they trying to take? Are they trying to take from below?
They're going a bit wide and a bit curious, but talking of Cyber, he wants to hop this window and end Fantasy. He's going for it. He's digging around. He's pre-firing. He's dropping. And he careens his way clear into the kitchen. They're not too far out. Lender is going to be the next point of confrontation, but Cyber doesn't feel like he has to go anywhere just yet. There is still that pressure coming across the top here, and he's creeping steadily towards the pantry. There's the hot pings, and there's not the fight. Can't quite get the angle and is going to wait until the head pops up. It's going to be a grenade decision instead. heading towards the backside of Cyber. He pulls away. He gets the memo. They probably don't want me here, so instead I'm going to push round the opposite side down the center corridor where Bullet isn't too far away, as yet again we're seeing another FaZe player rotate up from underneath Wine, I think.
Lenda has to get these kills. There is a Valkyrie keeping the corner closed, but Bullet not quite finding that kill yet. They both miss each other.
There it is.
Cameraman in the meantime from below is playing all the way off site and has the opportunity to come up either from these stairs, maybe use that C4 as soon as the site does finally fall into the hands of FURIA, because they are making work happen. Heiss is working together with a Rare to make sure that the site does get opened up, and as cameraman now comes around the corner, Lenda will drop. The fights are just taking care on and off site at the same time.
Well, now the pressure's coming in. As I said, cameraman was on the lurk, but you can see him screaming back up those Astro stairs, trying to get in as the push starts to coalesce across the top here. The battlefield is slightly opened, but there's the door closed. Cameraman on the kitchen pulls back down. Astro stairs doesn't need to approach this too much further, and well, with one more dropping, it's just Miracle inside the room, surrounded by stars, but with only 20 seconds. It's the stars in the roster against him that shut out the light.
It's a really weird round. Like, you have a big battle going down underneath, and at the very same time, you have a fight for the site really going on. They're trying to open up, but at the same time, they're being pressured from the doors, and there's C4s flying in from underneath, and FaZe just really bringing the battle to every single square meter they can find, and just this jump out as well to start it off. Cyber aware of the fact that Diana was right around the corner, taking the kill right before the actual spot comes through. Nothing you can do in that case, and a flawless round here from FaZe, showing some very aggressive game style. They're not holding back, they're not sitting in corners waiting. No, what they're doing is they're going after them. They're hunting actively for these kills, jumping out with shotguns if they need to. And it works. It works for now, but the attack is underway.
AVG, as we find ourselves back onto the split here, and we're setting ourselves up for FURIA holds. They are going with similar operators to what Villa plays into very well. You have the extension of information that Valkyrie is allowing. There's limitations on the plays around the doors with the missing ADSs from the pockets of Jaeger, and Goyo Shield's gone to it. Limits those little bits of swings and rotations you can have locked in on the door, looking out from Study towards the balcony as an example, or potentially just swinging towards Red too. You are a little bit more, I guess, limited in the hard structure you can have, but as FaZe have proven, it doesn't in any way limit the ground. You can try and keep a lockdown on. Obviously, Mirror's gone. That was a bit of a pocket play from the aggressors before, but with smoke locked in on the inside, it really makes that default plant strategy table or around the opposite side tough to enter. Talking of Astro
peak, not even, I think. I think it was just rotating around, maybe even being picked up or quickly trying to toss a cam out.
I mean, the way he died, how deep.
Yeah,
I think that was a drone inside the corner. Where Souls' drone was,
yeah,
I think that was in the red corridor. Either way, we get the replays at the end. If you didn't know, all the replays are being publicly released. Later on, everyone will be able to deep dive and really have a look at the strats, which is amazing. I'm so excited to see what comes of it.
It's going to be really cool to see what the community can come up with in that case, but for now, you'll have to do with us, and you have to do with this game to see what happens as Rare almost loses his life right there as a rappel up on that window and decides to try and fall back, go into Trophy, into Statuary, making sure that he will stay alive for now, as FaZe is slowly creeping themselves up to the site on many different levels, many different angles. It's only a question of time before they all merge together into a giant spearhead and hit the site.
And that's the thing we see from FaZe. Their executes, if you haven't seen them and you're new to them as a region and a team and have somehow missed all their games on SI, oh, they're good. It's so much setup, it's so much waiting for that execute, and then when the pinch comes, it is step for step perfect. You can almost watch and pull things apart in the way of being like, that's why they did that and that and that, but then watching it all as a symphony play out over the course of 3 seconds, it's like, how did they thread that so perfectly timed? Here, though, with the man advantage, you can see they're still pinging out the utility that's inside Study as well and trying to lock down the control on the split side. He can't quite get that Study lock off from underneath as he's pressured from around the bottom of the main stairs, so instead pulls back and there it pops. The shield dropped onside the hatch itself makes that corner much tougher to play, means it isn't a retreat that Fantasy can take if the pressure starts to come from red. So they've got to be a little bit more confident in the lockdown they have. A minute on the clock.
50 seconds, some new jumpers are still being taken care of, or at least can help in trying to get these drones in at the very last second, hoping to get some extra information out, but Astro needs to hit the side at some point as well, and that's exactly what he tries to do right now. Pings are coming in onto, from Rare. He has the opportunity to go aggressive right here, but he's staying put for now. It's the Gemini Replicator first, giving away his position, and now he's debating whether to not fall back, because well, the push will be coming in soon. A potential grenade could be tossed in as well from Cameraman. This kill comes in from Cyber. They're starting off.
There's the hot drop over the top of the stairs as they start their approach. Deep buried inside the gun vault. Wanted to C4 over the top. You can hear the Candelas are popping off too as they lock off one more kill dropped. One in response, but Iana's there to sweep up the pieces, and there it is. FaZe, as I said in the build up to that, they count everything. They make sure that their maths adds up before they go for the execution and hand it in. And it almost came out as a flawless, but there was never a moment in that attack where they looked like they were stumbling.
No, definitely not, because they were just set, like, at the start of the attack, you're like, all right, so we got one guy up there, there's one guy up on the east, we have one guy on the south, and, like, Astro's taking care of some utility, but at the moment they start hitting it, it's two coming in from that side, two coming in from that side, and the other one is still taking some pressure from below, for example, so literally everything is there. They're hitting it from multi-directions, they're also putting up some pressure from below if they can by taking care of utility or whatever it may be. And it's just very scary to deal with, especially if all these frags go the way of FaZe. You just get more, like, narrow, and it starts, like, you're getting stuck in a box, and there's nothing you can do in that point.
You know what, earlier I said I love to see when teams bring these pocket operators?
Yeah, that's what they did, yeah.
Amaru in the hands of Souls. And I'm, okay, if there's any Amaru players out there, I'm sorry, but at comp, she is a pocket operator. Anyone whose pick percent is under 5%, I would describe as a pocket operator.
Okay.
I think
5%.
I think her pick, is around 2%, 1%.
You know what?
For the last stats I saw.
Well, not for SI, I don't think.
Not for SI, no, 100% not for SI. I think that might have even been the first. Obviously, I haven't seen every game.
I'm checking as well, but I don't see.
Amaru's definitely been played. Kavera, I don't know if it has before this game.
Well, at some point the CG stats decide to no longer show operators, so it is not.
Just gonna call them out like that?
It's not more than 5%, because otherwise it would have shown up on the table. Let's put it like.
Okay, so it's not even on the table.
It's not on the table. That's why I'm trying to say. At some point, it don't show it anymore when the pick rate is that low.
What does the table cut off at?
At Dokkaebi, which has a 1.7% benefit and a 3.9% pick rate.
So they're under 3.9% pick rate. That, for me, is a pocket operator, and that is what I was talking about. I love to see when teams are ahead, they play these games. They bring that little bit extra. They go for something a bit dashing and daring, because in the hands of these teams, like FaZe, when they have these great structures, what you're sometimes pining for from them is this creativity. You want to see it. You want to see these greats go great and put that next level in, and it comes down to the confidence I talked about before. They weren't doing this sort of stuff against Empire because they were cautious of Empire. FURIA, they know. And this is the response to that, is they're getting ahead and then they're trying stuff that we haven't seen them individually do in this tournament yet.
Now, FaZe do need the win here, I'm going to tell you, to make sure that they secure themselves that top 4 spot, but nonetheless, they're not afraid of bringing the aggression and bringing the pocket operators to make sure that FURIA is not feeling very comfortable in this matchup. And, well, I'm talking about aggression, but it's not like it's just rush and gun and everything like that. They have a nice strategy. It's a step-by-step process they follow, but they do it with an aggression that FURIA so far doesn't seem to have the answer to as of yet. And Souls is playing on that Amaru, and then you're going to be wondering, all right, what are the options? Well, it looks like it's not going to be a direct entry on the site, as currently here located on the balcony on the side, you know, hoping to take 90 control soon as Bullet will be taking care of the 90 hallway and it will be safe to jump in. But for some other sides, you might be seeing a hatch repel, for example.
It's it. You look at the hatches that you have the possibility. Obviously, the study one is locked, so they'd have to pop it with hard destruction, which at that point you're in the room anyway. But You've got the one on 90. You no longer have Cyber, because he gets entirely deleted out from deep, and Lender finds Cameraman too. So suddenly your options are starting to slim and get a little bit tougher. The diffuser is pinged too. The defenders are well aware that that's been put down by the looks of it, but it's actually then another body back into the favor of Astro, who's been able to keep trying to clear and cling on. They've got to try and do a pretty big retake here now, as they're steadying their way over towards that diffuser that is still a constant. Yep, it's still on the floor. We have 30 seconds. They have to get the diffuser. Let's not stress too much. They're going for gunfights. They're putting the pressure here onto Gunvolt. It's the hard destruction gadget.
That's going to be making sure that the vault gets opened up, and that allows him to potentially go for a kill or two here, at least putting up some pressure. There we have it, that's one. Goes for the second. Oh, didn't know that he was still in there, and that means it's all up to one now, and Lenda takes that final kill. A lack of information right there, and of course you don't expect a second player to be sitting inside that vault, I assume. Might have lost him the round right there, just that lack of information of the vault. If he would have been able to pick up that kill as well, then this would have gone potentially into a plant situation.
Imagine if he'd got the second there. The first was obviously trying to keep a keen eye. The second was watching for that. They were aware, obviously, the wall was getting popped open. It's just they took a gamble, thinking that they'd be on the corridor side rather than slightly further around towards the other corner of 90. Amory was able to get the opener against Malusi, and then from that situation, it just turned into a trade. But it was a very vital trade, able to then swing around onto the finale. Still, 5-3. They're in a good stead and a good position here. They've gone back for now to what they had before Candela's. There it is. Now I think this is potentially the exact lineup they had before. I could be wrong.
You know what?
You gonna check? Thank you.
I'll just check for you. It takes a bit.
That's fine.
Give it.
Well, I mean, I'll keep talking.
Yeah, it's okay. I could continue talking. At some point, it will refresh. And,
all right.
We'll be able to. There we go. All right.
The round we just saw the round before.
Round 7, indeed. We had the Ying, the Sledge, IQ, Yana, and Ash. Oh, Buck is there.
Buck is the change. Okay. So that, yeah, but I mean, you know the change there. It's the different levels of soft destruction. Instead of going flat out with the lateral push, they want to get underneath, cause problems, potentially to try and get rid of the mute jammers behind the bedroom wall, if not force people out of the situations you can see them setting up for now. The mute inside AVG. It's an extension, and you don't usually have too much covering that from underneath. So instead of taking that as a direct fight via study, get the buck underneath, cause problems on those walls. You might not get the kill, but you'll definitely force them off the positions.
Yeah, you definitely will. As it does seem like AVG pressure will be coming down from FaZe, and for a second looked like it maybe directly hit the side based on the spawn points, but after a bit of a run, some pressure now will be coming down, and Ash charges are already being put down near the AVGs, and that means that Fantasy will maybe have to fall back a little bit because it looks like he is giving it up.
There's Cyber going to where I said he might, steadily working his way underneath. He wanted to force people off of the hold they've got, but look at Rare. He's creeping up around the corner, pre-fired through the piano wall, and goes, oh, that's a bit dangerous, head back to site. You assume he might not be the last one to make a bit of a heady retreat there as they realize that there's so much pressure coming on this side. They just hand it over. They're not going to try and stop FaZe at this moment in time. They're going to say, well, okay, we've got a minute. We know that they're hunting us from underneath. We know that they are well aware that we're here. Let's get out before they have that buck in position too. They still obviously have Lender, but he's got the Astro Stairs to rotate up if he needs to. He wasn't ever part of that intense pressure that was coming on the other two, but either way, it got FaZe a lot of ground pretty quickly.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's still pretty weird when you put such a heavy utility cost down on that side. Is actually is that double C4 below?
It is. Rare's dropped down. I think they might have the bedroom hatch
but Lenda already put his down, so I'm not sure if that's a pre-place somewhere.
Pre-placed on the connector.
Yeah, probably on the barb.
On the barb, waiting for the audio and then gonna blow bullet into the roof.
Well, or anybody else who walks through, depends on who that is going to be. Maybe actually good opportunity, use the Ash charge to get rid of the barbed wire so they can start pushing. That would also take care of the C4 that comes in as Rare here. Beautiful kill into Cyber. That's another C4 being popped, but nothing hits there.
Fantasy has the cover there. Rare with a great rotation. As I said, he hopped down the hatch to make sure he could cause problems elsewhere, gave them the idea that the land was theirs, and Sol's now found himself in a little bit of a no man's land. They're creeping up Astro. There's one in the bedroom. They've doubled down and backed up, and well, with that Candela carrier dropped, it gives the idea to Cameraman just where they are. They seem to know too, though. FURIA battle back, find themselves now only 1 round on a deficit.
Suddenly we are bringing this back into a matchup, and it's kind of similar to how the first half went. So a couple of rounds going FaZe's way, then out of nowhere, FURIA brought it back by punishing the ways FaZe was setting themselves up. And if they continue to pick up these rounds, and if they manage to pick up yet one another, then we are all equal up again. It will be 5-5. Now are they going to be able to do it, or is FaZe trying to put themselves onto a match point here, because they have 5 rounds so far, and 6 is the match point mark, 7 is what you need to win. Also quickly ran some stats, by the way.
Oh yeah,
7-4 is the most common scoreline we have seen. And if you would have to take a guess on what would be the next one, it would be 8-7, I believe.
There we go. All right, FURIA, you've been able to pull some rounds back together. FaZe, they went for a bit of a quick clear, and as I said, FURIA gave the land up, but what FaZe didn't quite expect was, I guess, that rotation. They doubled themselves back round, dropped, I still think it might have been the hatch. I don't think they took the red corridor hop over. I think the hatch was open throughout that, but, you know, we've watched a lot of Siege. I've seen a lot of hatches open. Maybe things are just getting a bit blurry.
They jumped out the window like
maybe.
Who knows?
Either way, it was a great move. It got them back in. It got that surprise kill. They went for the double C4s as they had prepped, but in the kind of crux of the matter, it didn't even come down to that, really. It was the kills that spread out. FaZe found themselves Scarpa just as they went for the push, and that really pushes you off your momentum.
4-5, 3 minutes left. FURIA is playing Kitchen Dining, a very well-defendable bomb site as of yet, and well, they are going for a bit of an extension as well. We have 1 or 2 players up on the top floor, then maybe 1 or 2 roaming around Memorial and the living room. You see Heis and Linda, just to make sure that there is more ground that FaZe needs to clear, FaZe needs to work for if they want to be hitting that site. Because if you just don't play there, they will drone it, they will take it, and there's nothing you can do anymore. By playing there, they will drone it, they will see you're there, and they're going to have to double, triple, maybe even quadruple check if you're still there later on in that round, if they want to take control of it. So by trying to extend and then falling back, you waste time, which is a very valuable asset here for the defenders.
Checking steadily for any approach that comes through still with that C4 on the rotation. There's 4 in the pockets. 1 is now pre-placed, but the others are waiting for this approach on the top from FaZe, who are aware of the minefield tactic. You can see a bit of steady droning, trying to find the cameras that will pre-pop those explosives. They've at least found the Mozzie, the man who collects his own, and it's just who really gets the first taste of who. There it is, Lender drops bullet, waited for the approach, and there, perfectly played and exploded. Had the bait of the Mozzie themselves. Later on, he might be a bit disappointed he was the bait, but Astro, he can't quite get the clear shots he needed as they filter and flicker their way back around. A deep rotation from the Mozzie, who's going to head back up the red stairs, I believe, to get himself back in a position to cause more trouble.
But I might be wondering now, as he went for some great clearing there with the drones and tried to find out where the cameras would be. He couldn't find it, then still got blown up. Must be very frustrating if it happens like that, but nonetheless, 55 seconds on that clock. FURIA have him an advantage, make that none. As a drop right in front of Souls will be allowing him to pick up that kill and turning it into a 4-on-4 situation. Well, they now almost have control of the site.
Gemini flicks past and they get behind this block of the center of the kitchen, but unfortunately they're cooked by the Mozzie, the man hiding in the corner. The grenade just drops behind him. He finishes off the kill in plenty enough time to escape, and now it's this 4 versus 2 situation. The Banshee screaming on the door gives the game away. The Laundry, he gets washed, spin cycled and sent back, leaving just Cyber up the top. 20 seconds, 4 more bodies to get through. There's still a C4 in the pocket of one of them. They haven't got the canisters, but they have your number.
Good shot there from Linda coming through, and we are back in a 5-on-5 situation. It will be a sprint to the end right now. Whoever wins this round is setting themselves up to fight for a match point. And I believe what I said before is that there is still an opportunity for FURIA to take the playoff spot, at least the upper bracket playoff spot, away from FaZe. So there is a lot more on the line than it may seem at this very point. And whilst I am pulling up the well, not statistic, but the table of that. All right, so FURIA is currently on 3 points. This is the last game that FaZe will play, mind you. FURIA still has a game after this. So if FURIA win this, they will be 4 points as well. With that, have the head-to-head over FaZe, because they will then win. And Team 1 is still in the mix. And as I'm trying to find the results of FURIA Team 1, all right, that's Team 1 that won. So in that case, we will be going to a round differential. However, the big difference here is,
Yeah.
there's still a game for FURIA to be played.
Still a game for FURIA. And, well, it's all of that kind of boils into this now. Obviously, FaZe haven't quite been able to lock in with the confidence that they assumed they had after being able to find their first attack. It was very good. It was very convincing. Yep. It was very clean. Since then, FURIA have been able to dig themselves in. There was this moment earlier at the very beginning of the game where they took the tactical timeout and we were like 2 rounds in. Okay, you've put yourself
early.
in. It turns into the beautiful game at that point. When you take your tactical timeout early, it's football, soccer for any Americans out there. That's 45 minutes. You're on a pitch and you don't have any conversation with anyone but the team and a bloke shouting from the sidelines. It's all about how you play the game and how you adapt to each other. You take your timeout early, or you're like Emperor and you just never take a timeout. That's the game that you're playing. You're playing on that pitch with your teammates, and you've got to try and turn it into something beautiful. And to be fair to FURIA, on their defenses, they've been able to develop into that.
And it's kind of the thing, right? Because it started off as a very dominant game for FaZe. The aggression they brought in the first 3 rounds really paid off. It allowed them to build a lead, a very good lead.
10 seconds
and
to
as, okay, I see what you're pointing at there. Lenda is
5 seconds left.
It's currently almost 1v5 in FaZe, you can almost say. 13 versus 2 on the kills there. Really stepping up. But the point I was trying to make is, after that, FURIA was able to get into that aggression more and punish whatever FaZe was bringing onto that defense. Brought it back to an equal score. And now they're doing the same on their defense. First 2 rounds got absolutely punished by FaZe. Is that a shotgun shot or was that a grenade or something?
No, it was shots from deep.
Oh.
Cameraman, he had the angle and he popped them through the bedroom window, scraped the edges of Lenda, got him to half health. There's the drone that was revealing some of the intel you assume as they instantly pulled him away. He, to be fair, I think flew too close to the sun. Punished a little for his hubris there. He went for the C4 out the window towards the people that might be approaching. Didn't go for it from what you would see normally as the bathroom, where you can't really be got from anywhere else apart from where you go for your run out. But, you know, almost paid the price for that moment. He gets to at least land, unlike those who otherwise flew too close to the sun before. Bullet, though, he's taking it over. He's going the sun, the moon, all the astronomy is now his as they start and steady their hold over that northern side.
And as Rarida is still creating some of these verticals here, and soon FURIA will be finding out that the main push will be coming down from Trophy and Statuary. However, that there is one player that is currently not playing according to that plan. Grenades are being tossed in, but will bounce back. Maybe he's taking care of some of the utility that has been placed down. If that's not the case, it might have been a wasted grenade, but look at that. 3 members of FaZe pushing in on the northern side, just trying to go directly into Classical Hall. Maybe take Study or AVGs as a result as well, and they will have to deal with the utility, of course, that will be placed in that case. Maybe smoke and essence that will start raining in, so they will have to hurry up if they want to try and get a plant off.
Eyeing steadily as the timer ticks away. Cyber swings, drops the camera that's holding onto the red door, but then goes to try and use those grenades underneath, as we're seeing Cameraman utilize too. Hey, Fantasy. Goodbye, Fantasy. Blown out. We've seen them play that against that exact hatch a couple of times before. It was just to drop the shield. This time they got lucky. There was a man occupying it instead. No longer now, and that gives them this man advantage to start formulating their actual approach here. You can see the diffusers on the far side. They want to split behind that vault door, go for the default hold, and that still requires a lot of work to be done. Rare, in the meantime, is going to try and take some of the land back, goes for a drop, a very risky firefight. It doesn't quite work out. Cameraman gets the momentum and tries to keep clearing his way further and further up, suffers a little bit in the exchange, but here's that plot behind the strategy table I talked about before. They are seemingly unaware. The canister goes off. It doesn't catch anybody, and there's Miracle, though, caught behind the battle itself. Hopped up, dropped down. and they're able to get the man up, puts themselves back into this 3 versus 2 situation.
Is there anything left? There's no C4, there's no more smokes. They need to work with their guns right now and try and make it work with about 40 HP in total. Make that 20 as cameraman picks up 1 kill. Cyber finishes it off. It's FaZe that will yet be reaching match point first as they manage to chain up their attack perfectly here. Get the opening kill, and as soon as that happens, I said it before, they start snowballing. They start pushing you down into a singular box until there's nowhere else to go. And that's exactly what they did right here. FaZe, after the tactical timeout, will be able to win their 6th round, and that will put them onto match point. That will put the pressure down onto FURIA, and it all started off with a beautiful grenade as well, together with, well, the missed gunfight here from Rare.
I do like how they played that. You see that hatch hard and you assume that somebody's going to be behind it. Before, there wasn't anyone. They just dropped the shield. This time, though, I guess, you know, FURIA weren't aware that they knew that that was how they wanted to approach it. They didn't see that shield get dropped previously and unfortunately suffered the consequences of, uh-oh, we had a man there.
So, the thing is, normally you would be playing on top of the hatch due to the fact that the explosion will not kill you. However, due to the pressure that was coming down from Trophy Statuary's side, there is a direct angle down onto that hatch, and he was forced to move a bit to the side because you still want to be able to contest Aviator games if they would decide to go for a direct push. So you need to stay close. You cannot go too far off, and the angle he chose was the perfect one for it because there is no way that you can go more to the east on that side to try and still get the angle in because there's 2 doorways that are blocking it off. So you need to be in the actual side if you want to go for that pick, and as soon as you're in that side, your entire team is going to be putting up the gunfights there. So theoretically, he was in the right spot, just didn't know that there was going to be a grenade that came in from below that would end his life early in the round. And FaZe now have the match point. They have the pressure down onto FURIA, and well, we do know that they like to go aggressive, and that is being doubled down on now as the line is being brought and the first E1D gets popped. This could be what is necessary for FaZe to make this push happen, as they will be trying, most likely again, to take control of Aviator Games. And I believe it is again being forfeited here by FURIA.
FURIA, I mean, they played this perfectly before. You assume FaZe are going to be aware of that. They have grown, they have shown some awareness of the plays that have been put before them and then replicated and responded in the perfect fashion. But FURIA, to be fair, they battled back into this game from a 5-2 deficit. Okay, it's Villa. They went on their defense. It's not the most uncommon thing, but it still shows how they could dig themselves into this game and shows how they could reapply this pressure. Popped windows all across the board in the shop as the C4's popped and blown. It's 1 of 3, and FURIA have otherwise been adept as a minimum with them.
And you have to be careful because these C4s were often used in vertical angles, and well, Lenda already lost his. That is the most, well, you would say lethal of the C4s that are out there. Looking at the success rate he managed to find as the shield now gets taken out. Miracle somewhat loses a bit of cover. Smoke canister will be used to stop this push from happening as the E1D was coming in. Just quickly have to take the pace out of the attack right there.
Well, Rare is being a little bit hunted right now. We saw a big rotation from the FaZe bodies that decided to pull away after they'd got that initial pushback onto the split entrance, and so Rare drops even further back. Doesn't go back to the site, doesn't get shepherded with the rest, still wants to cause problems and make them keep guessing where he's going to be, and that is a perfect maneuver and what he was able to pull off so well before. Sure, it means there's one less body to rebuke the fight on the site itself, but Miracle's making sure that, well, they've got this cool and under control. The Lion screams out in the sky as Miracle goes for a hot drop, and Goober stomps the man into next week. Wants to put a bit more pressure here, but now FaZe have 2 loose bodies that they need to account for.
There's a couple of roamers now they indeed need to make sure they deal with, but there's only 40 seconds left. So at this point in time, what are you going to do? Are you going to be really trying to hunt these down? The answer is yes, because Bullet knows the flank is on the way and takes down Miracle as a result, and now only needs to deal with one of them. That is playing from below, whilst there is still 3 around the site, and Rare holding up on the bottom of these red stairs has the opportunity to go big as Souls picks up the kill into Highs. He is now the man that it's all about. Rare needs to make sure that this flank will happen as Fantasy manages to pick up 1. He gets traded out, however, 12 seconds left. The plant might go down. Now it's a 1-on-2 situation. Will FaZe turn this around? Lenda spots the diffuser. There's 6 seconds left. Can he get the angle? No, he will not be able to. The Maverick will lose this out. Souls cannot win this. Lenda, do not peek. Almost throwing that one away right there. FURIA will just barely bring that one in. But Lando, if he would have stepped a bit more to the left, a bit earlier, to the right, I must say, he would have lost his life right there.
I mean, he was going for the fight. I think because he was getting the hit confirmation, he assumed they could get it back on him. They couldn't quite get the same angle. He could. It's that risky moment. It only takes one lucky bullet in this game to get a kill. And we're not saying that anything would have been luck, but sometimes Lady Luck shines in your favor. Lenda didn't want to play that game, said, I'm getting hit confirmations. There's a chance they will as well. They went for blood, and, you know, it boiled down to no success on their part. Thankfully, I think for them, that's it. Half health.
Just lean the other way, dude. Just lean into the wall. There's nothing they can do. Well, they get me excited. Just being afraid of the fact that they might lose it out due to him going a bit aggressive. Either way, we are in overtime. That is the fact being. And it's still for both these teams to play for. FaZe almost turned it around. You got to keep that in mind. They were basically behind the entire round up until the moment that the plant went down, and they managed to stop the diffuser flank from coming in.
10 seconds remaining.
Let's see if they can continue that. They are stuck on their attacks for now. Managed to make a couple of them work. Let's see if they can get back onto that pace from the get-go.
Attackers must locate and defuse the bomb.
Okay, so far we've had two halves, 4-2 to the favor of the defenders. So if maths is to be believed, and I'm told that it's supposed to be, this should be FURIA's game. But that doesn't account for probably the most important thing in Siege, which is just who shows up better on the day, who has that little bit extra. Sometimes you gotta kind of throw maths, a bit of caution, a bit of stats to the wind, and see what can be developed when you are pushed to your limit, and this is it, OT. 6-6 FaZe clan, you've just been on your attacks, you've got some momentum, and you pulled a couple of wins from it before. You get this round, and you set yourselves up in a good position, and you're going to try and start with this clear around Mudroom, waiting for somebody to swing just around the bottom of the box, but there's 3 bodies down here. FURIA aren't going to play this as an isolated fight. They're going to avoid those 1 versus 1s.
Definitely try to. As cameraman trying to move up, hoping to find someone. Is rare to drop first. Astro picks up the kill, and he instantly saw Fantasy going for an aggressive re-peek onto that main door, but wasn't able to find anything as he was not gifted anything. And Astro now picks up the second kill. Fantasy going even more aggressive. Bullet now knows one is still inside of Library, and there's the opportunity of FaZe trying to, well, pinch him down. There's 2-3 different angles they can use, and Lenda just waiting in this corner. He's the top fragger. 15 kills the man has, and he's going to get peeked by literally every single angle you can imagine. It's a 2-on-5 situation. He gets taken out. It's only up to Miracle now.
Well, what a tricky situation to be in. He's rotated off the site to try and find 1, maybe 2 that might not expect him to have gone this deep, but that drone dropping is going to give them the intense read. They know where he is, but he still wins the first, goes for the second, can't quite get the shoulder cover. There's 1 more that's pushing on Pillar, so he smokes his escape. However, look at his health. It's just a taste that is needed for FaZe to be able to get the kill. He's trying to open himself up a hole above, waiting for the cover, but cameraman, he doesn't take the taste, he takes the full bite and pushes them once again to map point.
Doesn't give them an opportunity. FaZe have the chance now to finally lock it out. They have 2 more opportunities to make it happen compared to potentially the one that FURIA is going to be able to lock themselves into if they deny the first. They're on the defense. It has 4 rounds, or 8 rounds overall so far, so it is statistically favored inside this matchup. Question, of course, is being, are we going to see round number 1 to 3 FaZe, or are we going to see the FaZe we saw after that? Because it's a big difference in the dominance we have seen of FaZe in their defensive rounds.
See, I think FaZe, they go for strats, they go for an attack, and it's either hit and miss, and that's, I know that's a very big statement to make about a game that's built around strat developing, but as I've said many times, one of the biggest compliments you give to FaZe is you can see the cogs whirring, you can see the parts of the machine that make it run so effectively, and sometimes the machine is just constructed for the wrong job. You know, sometimes
a cog gets stuck.
Sometimes a cog gets stuck, sometimes problems happen, but they trust in that process. They trust in their ideas that they bring on the blueprints board and try and run on the game day. And I think that's just this situation is against a team like FURIA who knows how to read against them and knows how to move against them. What we're seeing from a team like FURIA is when, on their defenses, when they were being attacked, they wouldn't go back to site as a lot of other players would. They wouldn't get shepherded into the space FaZe wanted them to be. They would go deeper. They would go somewhere else. They would cause a problem for the machine. But against, you know, 9 other teams, 9 times out of 10, that player would have gone the way FaZe wanted to. The machine would have been working effectively, and I think that's it. FaZe, they love having a strategy, and FURIA, for them, they're just causing problems for a lot of that. This, though, is their moment, because we've just had a round where the machine demonstrated what it can do to any competitors that get in its way.
And now they're on the defense. This is where they do like to play as well. We see the FO12 again coming out from Cyber, and we've seen them have a lot of fun with that one. C4 already in hand from cameraman. He's potentially thinking about tossing that one over as soon as pressure comes down. A grenade, however, will be taking care of Bullet first. So entry frag is there for FURIA. Came through, I believe, from underneath the main door, and that means the brown stairs are now under control of FURIA, and they're starting to push through. It's a rush maybe coming down. No, Lennox decides to fall back. They have to be careful. They cannot throw this one away, because that would be potentially the end of the round, as Fantasy will be able to pick up the kill onto cameraman. Going into a 2-round advantage, but they do have to go all the way to trophy stat tree. Last members of FaZe, they will be defending that with their lives, as that would be a potential match point they lose.
Well, the first kill came from underneath, so FaZe, they've got to find themselves working with a slightly limited structure now, as FURIA are able to do what they couldn't quite manage in the opening half, which is get that intro solidity onto their attacks now. Setting their net and their eyes wide with 1:20. It's still plenty of time to try and reevaluate how you want to do this final surmounted hurdle. You have the structure of a site. You have this little bit of breathing room, which, to be fair, when FaZe were doing their defenses before, were not offering. FaZe were making sure that every time pressure happened, they tried to double or sometimes triple down on it. This is one of the first times I think we've seen an attack round from FURIA where there's been an engagement and then there's been a break.
Very important to take that break. Slow it all down, make sure it doesn't continue in that same continuous motion. You allow them to come back, and surely a bit of damage is being done to these members every now and then, but as long as the kills don't start swinging FaZe's way, this should be your round. You have the opportunity to trade, you have the ground to make sure that happens. You have to be careful though, as there is some pressure coming down. Lena will be able to take down the kill onto Astro. And this is going to be putting Souls in a very important position right here. He needs to pick up these kills.
Gets one, sees the Selma go out, but look at Ace going for the rotation round to the back of the window, took a risk. And, well, it did not pay off. Dropped by Miracle, who's now going to try and stick the diffuser. That FO12 is great if the man is a couple of feet in front of you.
And
can't quite pop the head. But they come around the back. Hey, it's Max OT.
I mean, I did say it's either 7-4 or 8-7 is the most common scoreline, but just stand up, dude. You see that? Oh, he couldn't hit it. Just press C, get the one tap, go back down. Not a big deal. You can use the FO12 afterwards again. Either way, 7-7. We are at the very, very final round of FURIA FaZe. And I've said it before, FaZe, if they win this, secure themselves a good player's position. A player's position where they have an extra life. However, if they lose this, that will also mean that they lose that spot. Because in that case, it will be FURIA that moves up temporarily into the top 4, as they would be winning that head-to-head over them. And that is something FaZe will really want to stop from happening. They need to grab the win here. That secures them. They don't have to worry about anything else anymore in that case. And the groups would be settled. But FURIA, they don't want to let that happen. They still have another game to play right after this one. And they want to make sure that they are going to be the ones that are going to be heading into that one with a fresh win. Are going to be the ones that head into that with the opportunity of taking the playoff spot in the upper bracket if they feel like it.
7-7. Let's go back to trophy statuary is what they're going to opt for instead for their final hold. Didn't think, well, what happened before they were on AVG was good. And to be fair, it wasn't. It was a quick swing and a swan through. Combining words now. It's been a long week.
Don't ask me about English.
No. A quick swing and a swan through the site for FaZe Clan. That's all the letters in the right way, but Furia were furious with the result. So they're going to readapt and re-equivalent themselves back here. Again, just making stuff up. But at this point, when it's 7-7 in a Latin American showdown, you know things have been all the way to the end. They're still so relaxed. I do not know how they do it because, well, they're much better at Siege than I am, and I suck.
First of all, they're both better than both of us here, so we don't have to go into that one. As Cyber looking through the drone, all hoping to find someone, but he's also knowing that that is probably not going to be happening. Such a small mistake, Furia cannot afford, and they will be on their top gameplay, and so will FaZe have to be if they want to take home this attacking round. And it's a very, very, well, compact setup, you can say, from Furia. There's no real roams. You have two on the bottom floor, of course, and the main attack from FaZe seems to be coming down from the Aviator game side of the map, with Cyber, I believe, holding off with Souls. We're going to be trying to see if they maybe can get a pick in here or there, or if they can support the main attack forces. Lenda, the top fragger on Furia, did take quite a bit of damage down from Souls, but not enough to put him down in the dust. And that means that there is still a good fighting chance right here for Furia, as long as they realize and seem to recognize where the push will be coming down from. And as there seems to be a rotation, it might just be straight coming from the bedroom.
Attackers have located
Still
a bomb.
3 C4s in the pockets, and we've seen them be deadly with those inside this engagement before FaZe. They're sort of approaching perfectly for those to really pop off and start putting heavy pressure back into the sides. You can see Rare and Miracle, they're kind of in these positions. One can get underneath, one can lob over the top with those canisters, anything to buy them time to, again, allow those to drop in. But it's Fantasy that gets the first, with Rare being taken through the hatch. I believe that was from above. They hop in and try and build behind the pressure, but it's suddenly a 3 versus 2. With Rare down, they'll get the beat and the read on the ideas of what's going inside the site itself. They clear their way closer towards that breach on the opposite side. Lender swings round the side, sees the Gemini disappear, but there's the response and the revenge as they try and flood their way into Trophy itself. The spray comes through, and FaZe Clan come out the victors.
In the end there, are going to be able to snowball on the attack there. They get the oh-so-important entry kill, and they manage to just go on from there. They cut down the angles one by one by one, and yes, sure, they lose the diffuser at that very time.